Hi, MTV. Welcome to my crib. Here you can see a mess. Ito ang ating closet tour. Welcome. So, today, my closet. I just came out of it recently. Thank you, that's why I have such a good fit.
Hi! Welcome back to Doghouse Live, where we yell about the things we love, but like productively. So, catch us here on our YouTube channel every other week. I'm your host, Cloie, and hindi pa ako na-cancel, so I wanted to share na last night natulog ako and I was thinking about like mooncakes as I fell asleep. So, share ko lang yun. If you want to send me some, my address is 123 Internet Street. Hit me up. Thank you. Hi. So today, we'll be tackling LGBTQ plus representation in Philippine media. My guys, my gals, my non-binary pals, hold on to your horses, because we're gonna get deep today. Together, the series sparked renewed interest in the BL genre, and that opened up discussion for everyone to think about how do we actually, depict queer relationships in Philippine cinema? In the Philippines, popular queer cinema finds its roots in tropes. One of them is the melodramatic bakla. We also have our hypermask bakla. We have our campy queens. And more. Pero yun nga lang ba yung meron tayo? Hanggang tropes na lang ba tayo sa Philippine cinema? The big question is, do these narratives tell the story of our community? And if not, then who are they for? Okay, back to hosting Cloie, who will now introduce the guests of today's episode. Hello, so today I have the privilege to introduce our guests to you. So our first guest is an actress. She also used to write for GGV, The Buzz, and Your Face Sounds Familiar. She's also the winner of Miss Trans Global, and she also, fangirls with the Brightwin Ninangs group. So, let me introduce to you Miss Mela Habijan.
Hi, Cloie. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you po.
I am awesome. I am feeling fantastic right now. Thank you, Underdog, for having me today. It's a pleasure to be in your presence. Of course, anytime. Anytime that you invite me over. Or as you've told me, I can host the show. I can take you over. Bye.
Yeah, actually, you are invited, please. If you would like.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want to take up your space because I believe that we should all have spaces. As you are doing with me right now, thank you for giving me, a trans woman, a space to be seen and heard. Maraming salamat.
Our next special guest is a writer-director of locally awarded and internationally screened films which focus on LGBT identities and his own cultural roots. So his debut film was Too Cool to Be Forgotten, which won the Best Picture in the 12th Cinema One Originals Film Fest. And his most recent work is the Black Sheep-produced BL web series, Hello Stranger. Let me introduce to you Sir Petersen Vargas.
Hello. Thank you for having me also.
Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a good day so far, a good week.
Oo naman, parang one of the best days during the lockdown already. Wow. And of course, I'm honored. I'm honored to
why
be.
this is the best day because you met me today.
Yes. I was gonna say. No, I'm
really
really
hurts.
honored. I'm really honored to be guesting alongside Miss Mela. As in, wow. It's an honor.
So, let's start the discussion.
With the industry now, do you think these roles should be played by members of the community themselves, like LGBTQ plus members?
Representation. It is a very relevant discussion now. Should LGBTQ plus people take over roles that depict LGBTQ plus characters? Definitely. That should be the norm, the mindset of producers, directors, because there will always be perspectives on different issues, on different situations, motivations that only an LGBTQ plus person would know. For example, when I was given the opportunity to act for Manillennials, as much as I was not able to experience being barred from entering a bar, I had that feeling of rejection. Diba? I know the feeling of being rejected because I'm a trans person. That experience of rejection was somehow similar to every trans person being rejected in any form of public space. Diba? Ang sakit. At ang sakit ma-reject. Hindi yun mararamdaman at hindi yun maiintindihan ng isang cisgender woman. Kasi hindi niya alam kung paano sabihan ka ng hindi ka tunay na babae. Kasi in the first place, biologically, she had that experience of being a woman already. Unlike us, our narrative will always be the discovery of womanhood from within and unleashing it outwardly. Sa biologically female kasi, physical manifestation, palabas, papuntang loob ang kanilang understanding ng pagkababae. Sa amin, mula loob, papuntang labas. And that will always be a different narrative. Kaya ako, I will always move forward to LGBTQ plus representations being moved by LGBTQ plus people themselves, so as the depiction of the struggles, of the joys, of the victories will be reflected in the situation being portrayed. Now, okay lang ba? For example, itong dalawang ito na nasa likod ko, am I okay na sila yung nagpo-portray ng Together the series? Well, yun yung gateway muna doon eh. 'Di ba? Parang, will I hate them kasi sila yung nakast? Hindi. 'Di ba? Hindi ko sila i-hate. I will probably embrace them because they took on the opportunity to represent us. I will hate them if at the end of the series, they found themselves na parang, ano lang to, role lang to that I have to take. Yon, number 1. Or 2, homophobe pala sila to begin with. 'Di ba? Kung hindi naman sila alay, hindi nila maiintindihan yung pinagdadaanan ng characters na pinoportray nila, then hindi ka karapat dapat to represent us. I will always be inclusive. That will always be my language. Pero hindi rin naman ako totally inclusive at all because there are people na I'll be political na hindi ko tinatanggap sa buhay ko. Pero if you are celebrating the community and you are a straight ally, you will understand us by, kumbaga parang by reaching out to us, by having a conversation with us. Therefore, maiintindihan mo rin yung pinagdadaanan namin. And that's fine with me. However, I hope we'll come to a point in which all LGBTQ plus narratives will be portrayed, will be represented by LGBTQ plus themselves.
Thank you so much. And going naman to Sir Petersen, what would you, parang your thoughts on that? Kasi when you pitch stories, for example, iba rin yung parang kinalalabasan ng what you pitch na story. So I guess if you could share some insight or knowledge on that as a writer-director?
Kasi when you also look at the industry, kaya I think espasyo ng mga queer creators din before yung independent scene. Kasi malaya kaming magawin yung kung ano gusto namin. When we did Hanging Out, I really casted my queer friends no? in their rightful roles. Eventually, when you work with the big studios, for example, when you work with ABS-CBN, of course, they have their homegrown talents and you're limited to that selection. No? You kind of have to play that game in order for your stories to still be told. If I were to pitch this queer story, and then I'm working with the studio that would allow me to spread it to a wider audience, to have that platform and to claim that platform for my own and for my team, for the community. Sabi nga ni Mela, ito muna yung gateway natin. If I were to choose to tell this story now that it's gaining traction, if I were to make a Pinoy BL series now, bakit hindi ko gagawin, 'di ba? Especially now that hindi na lang siya nalilimitihan sa espasyo ng independent scene. Even the big studios now are taking risks to make this kind of content, to service this kind of content to the community. Kung ang issue natin ngayon is bakit hindi nga napupunta yung mga queer roles sa mga queer actors, we really have a long way to go eh. Masakit man siyang sabihin, nasa baby steps tayo ng pagtanggap not just in the industry, no, but also in our society, no, around the people we engage with, the audience that we're going to serve. Queer creator, as a queer director, I value yung connection mo with an actor. Ang mga kwento namin, ang mga kwento na gusto kong ikwento ay mga lived experiences. Bakit naman hindi ako sa ideal na ang mga makakatrabaho ko, the ones I will collaborate with, meron din silang mga lived experiences na maisha-share sa akin para mapataba at mahulma yung mga roles na ginagawa namin. Because characters don't end up in the script, don't end up on set when I direct it, no? It's really the actor that would embody that character and would make it alive and would make it relatable. Of course, I have to make sure na yung mga straight allies natin na actors, kailangan muna namin umupo at masinsina mag-usap na alam mo ba yung pinapasok mo, because deciding to take on this role, I hope they don't consider it just as an acting job. Kasi they have this social responsibility to serve this character to the public. Privilege muna nila yun ngayon. For example, when we did Hello Stranger, we were working with JC Alcantara. His character, si Miko, Hello Stranger was really about not just them being strangers to each other, but also Miko being a stranger to himself. Kasi dahil never pa siyang na-in love, never pa niya na-experience yung love, hindi niya talaga kilala yung sarili niya. And when we finally went to that confession scene, there was a line in that particular scene where Miko has to say, akala ko, ikaw yung nagturo sa akin kung paano mahulog, pero ikaw pala ang nagturo sa akin kung paano lumipad. And JC as an actor, as a person, he was asking me what that meant. Doon mo nakikita yung barrier, no? Yung parang there's this gap na, oo nga, no, as a queer man living, parang growing up closeted, having to confess to someone, it's really this act of liberation, no? Na parang hindi ka nahuhulog, parang tinuturuan mo yung sarili mong lumipad. Kasi that line actually came from one of my own writings. Parang na-hurt pa nga ako in some ways. Hindi naman ako dapat ma-hurt, pero na-hurt ako na parang JC was questioning that line. And so, dun nga parang nagiging totoo na ang laki nung gap. And we really hope for that future na ang mga sobrang talented nating mga queer actors, mga queer brothers and sisters, get cast into those roles that they have lived through, no? Yung mga lived experiences nila would allow them to elevate these characters. But for now, yun nga parang we also have to check with reality ng industriya. And nakakalungkot man sabihin, as a director, kukunin ko pa rin yung opportunity na to push for these stories to make them happen. I'm still happy that I get to work with queer writers from Black Sheep. I get to work with the queer staff, no? My producer's queer, even by PD, no? My production designer, he would even have his own conversations with our straight actors, and that would also enrich the experience. So, sana, hindi ko naman hinihingi na parang i-forgive kami or parang i-acknowledge din when making these kinds of content, yung goal ng representation, even behind the camera, even behind the scenes. And I think that's something that we also have to acknowledge, and that's something that finally nandito tayo, no? Na parang ako, how I wish na nung high school ako, hindi lang Love of Siam yung napapanood ko, na hindi ko pa nga napanood legally hindi ko pa nga napanood na nahiram ko sa Video City, kasi hiyang-hiya ako na pumila sa Video City handling a VCD na dalawang lalaki yung nasa cover. Hindi ko magawa yun. Ngayon, we have this power to consume content through online platforms in the confines of our private spaces. And we can air out our reactions publicly, and we can see this online community that's being built to appreciate and celebrate these stories. For now, hindi ko sasabihin it's enough. Sasabihin ko lang na hindi kami titigil. Maganda na maraming tao ang maingay to criticize this, kasi totoo naman kami din, we're self-critical with this situation, and it will take time, no, to reach our ideals. Pero happy ako, no? After a decade, or after a decade, nandito tayo. And I'm hoping to step forward together, no? Together talaga yung ending.
Then, totoo naman yun, Petersen. Totoo yun. Kasi parang this is something to celebrate about. And I want to add to it through my experience as a trans person, through my transition process. When I came out as a trans person, I knew that it won't be easy for everyone to embrace the woman that I really am, because everyone will be adjusting. But what I've learned from it is that as I transitioned, everyone around me transitioned. I am very happy that they have fully embraced the Mela that I really am. And in relation to representation, we have just come out. So as we transition, our society also transitions. So let's also enjoy the journey. I get the point of you defending, of you raising the community, our right to represent our own community. I get you, because that's also the dream. But let's also appreciate that we are going through the journey, and definitely we will not allow anyone to hold us back anymore. Kasi nandito na tayo. So let's move forward and let's aim for that day na lahat tayo will be represented by the people who deserve to represent us.
Tama. Naiiyak
Gusto ko
naiiyak ako, Mela.
Yes!
Naiiyak ako sa'yo.
I really like those points, like especially from Miss Mela saying na no one is ever going to be able to tell your own story or like those stories unless you've lived through them, like the nuance of it. I think I also read this interview from Mr. Petersen. Queer stories are all coming of age stories, and that was really like, oh nga no, parang he's right. So it's really interesting in that sense, and I really liked rin na what you said na for straight actors to be telling these stories, it is a privilege. Parang when they can, it should be treated as such and honored. So I really like that. So thank you so much to the both of you for sharing, your own stories and your thoughts on that. I learned a lot.
I'm curious about your thoughts are on queer baiting, kasi parang within this conversation, maraming nuance na nangyayari, like whether or not the actor is part of the community or they're an ally. Meron ding conversation about like outing actors or whoever is starring in these works. So I guess hindi naman matatanggal sa conversation rin yung queer baiting. So I was hoping to hear, your opinions, pwede rin as an actress, as a fan, or even as a creator on this general part of queer baiting.
Ikaw, Petersen, based on your experience, ano yung idea or ano yung expressions of queer baiting on your end?
Sige, ako kasi siguro gusto ko rin siya i-categorize in the context of this discussion. Kasi I think there's queer baiting in terms of the marketing, no? In the marketing strategy, in the marketing content, series, pelikula, TV show. It's this idea of capitalizing the element of queerness that exists in the content. More often than not, it's just that, no? It's just a bait for you to bite into that. I think one of the most phenomenal queer baiting para mga pride campaigns ng mga corporate companies that just capitalize on the pride celebration, not really fully, alam mo yon, being one with the community. They're just using it to sell something. Mm-hmm. So that's where it gets sour. Sorry, ang dami ko sinabi. Ikaw naman, Mela, ano yung idea mo of queer baiting?
Hindi, ang ganda nung sinabi mo, Petersen, kasi technically ito ay panggagamit sa queer experience para kumita. Because at the end of the day, yun naman yun yung sumasakay sa uso. 'Di ba? At yun yung nakakainis pagka, halimbawa, Pride. Merong mga instances na parang hindi naman talaga kayo kaisa at ally ng LGBTQ plus community, but because alam niyo na nagiging matunog kayo at nagiging matunog ang LGBTQ plus experience, bigla na kayong all of a sudden naging ally. Perfect example nito, and I will name her, Yna Marcos. 'Diba? During her campaign, sinabi niya na siya ang definition ng bakla. And I'm like, huh? Saan ang galing yun? Bakit? Okay? Yung parang, hindi ko alam kung saan ka nang gagaling at kung anong pinanggagalingan mo. Pero definitely, hindi ko nakita sa iyong lived experiences na minsan kang nakiisa sa isang pride celebration, na minsan kang nakiisa sa quest for equality ng LGBTQ+. Fine, parang naghain ka, equality bill right now, but I don't think and I won't consider you as bakla. Merong mga babaeng bakla akong i-consider na talagang kasama sila. Ate Regine Velasquez, for example. Ate Reg will always be an ally to us because she knows of our lived experiences. Pero yung gagamitin, yung queer experience for a political gain, for a business gain, yon yung queer baiting. Kitang-kita natin yan at present. Now na ang lakas ng clamor for BL series, I'm very happy na marami nagpo-produce. Pero ang sad reality doon, sa paglabas at pag-usbong nito, biglang meron na lahat. At dahil meron na lahat, na-sacrifice na yung quality. 'Di ba? At doon mo talaga makikita na kung sino yung talagang pinaninindigan, yung telling of the story, at kung sino yung eto lang para kumita.
Dahil parang nasa-saturate yung market, kahit na sabihin natin BL sila, minsan nakakasakit pa rin yung mga narratives na pinupush nila kasi parang yun nga, it's for the sake of money and not really for the story or to be inclusive or to represent
the community. Ako kasi
the
at the end of the day,
itself.
makikita mo naman yung intention at motivation as to how a particular medium is crafted. Maiintindihan mo siya kung nakita mo holistically and experience mo siya at kumbaga naramdaman mo yung sincerity ng material. Mararamdaman mo na hindi ka ginagamit. Mararamdaman mo na hindi ka inaabuso. Now na appreciated ang BL as a genre, of course there will be people who will take advantage of it. Let's take time to sit down, understand the motivation of the characters, the motivation of the storytelling, para at least makikita natin kung ano ba yung intention, bakit ko ba ginagawa itong storyang ito. Na after itong kwentong ito, bukod sa kumita, fine, that's a business intention and there's nothing wrong about that. But right after that, ano yung magiging key takeaway ng iyong produkto? Ano ang gusto mong maramdaman ng mga manonood the moment na ilabas mo yung material na meron ka? Ano yung gusto mong matutunan ng mga manonood na makaka-appreciate ng material mo pagkatapos nilang panoorin ito?
Habang nangyayari itong surge of BL, I don't mind na halos 20 na nga yata ang under na BL in the coming months. Parang happy ako so far na yung mga directors na nakikita kong natatap into making these Pinoy BLs are queer themselves, that I know them well enough to have the best intentions. So sana ganon at patuloy tayong manalig na sila yung mga pagbibigyan.
To wrap it all up, I would like to read out our final reader letter. Our reader says, Dear Underdog, if you could change 3 things within the entertainment and media industry to make them friendlier as queer spaces, what would those 3 things be?
My wish list for the future of the industry. I think we've been bringing up this word a lot, yung equality. We hear us talk about having our queer actors cast into queer roles. Of course, that's the ideal. Pero of course, sana we come to the day then for the industry na yung mga non-queer roles din mabigay sa queer roles. When you act out a character, parang characters aren't solely defined by their sexuality, by their genders, no? Identities are complex. Whoever fits the role, sana mabigay sa kanya yung role. You see, you watch a show, How I Met Your Mother, tapos yung bida pala doon is played by a gay actor, no? Parang Spock was played by an openly queer actor and he's still Spock. So, ano yung issue doon? And we wish for that same equality here locally. Tama din yung sinasabi ni Mela na sana kasama nating mag-transition yung society for the better. We tell stories not for ourselves. Once we tell stories for others, dun nagiging meaningful yung mga kwento natin. Pero once you have that mindset, sabi nga ng aking minamahal na mentor si Sir Ricky Lee, na once you start writing for others, doon nagbabago yung pananaw mo sa what the power that you can have as a storyteller. And once you have this platform, no, even this platform na where we just have these conversations, I think it's very important to have queer individuals take up these platforms. Mag-iingay po kami. We will be demanded to be seen. We will be demanded to be heard. Ibigay niyo po sa amin to ngayon. Wala po kaming ganitong opportunities as much before. And now that we have these, hayaan niyo kami mag-celebrate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How about you, Miss Mela?
Alam mo, ang ganda nung sinabi ni Petersen because he's grounded with the fact of something that we have always wanted with our lives and the community, equality. And that can be achieved by having a society that will embrace the nature of what we call networking. Open-minded ba kayo? Pag tinanong sa atin yung tanong na ito, kadalasan, matu-turn off tayo. But actually, the beauty behind this question is the fact that you're willing to embrace something that is not familiar. You're embracing something that could allow you to take risk. And you're embracing something that will allow you to grow. Not just as a creator, not just as a producer, not just as an actor, not just an audience, but as a person. It is through open-mindedness that we begin to learn perspectives that allows us to understand the context and motivations of every person. Being open-minded will be the nature of the producers themselves because somehow nakakulong sila sa perspective na kailangang kumita ng material na ilalabas natin. Oo, that will always be the intention. But having gone through experiences behind the camera, in front of the camera, and outside of the sphere that is taken by the camera, nakita ko na ang tunay na kwento ay tatagos sa isang tao pagka ito ay nagkukwento ng isang bagay na makakapagpa-realize sa atin na ang ganda pala ng mundo at na-appreciate ko ang mundo. So sana before the producers will think of business decisions, they will ask themselves, ito bang kwentong ito ay makakapagpabago ng buhay? Ito bang kwentong ito ay makakapagpabago ng perspective? It pains me that a lot of queer creators are being rejected. Sanay naman tayo sa rejection, 'di ba? Pero ang lagi nga nating sinasabi, we will not give up. And definitely, we are cheering for you, we are rooting for you because you have my hand that you can hold and will tell you, you are doing what is good for yourself and you are doing what is good for the community. So meron at merong susuporta sa'yo. Yes, there will be moments na hindi sa'yo ang mundo, pero do allow yourself na yung pag hindi ng mundo will also be a yes to yourself because you always deserve that story to be told. At i-push mo lang yan ng i-push at merong mga, I believe in our talent and I believe that we have what it takes not to be a star, but to be the light, to be the source of light in which people can appreciate individualities and people can appreciate being illuminated. Enjoy the ride of watching. Enjoy the ride of appreciating any type of work. Yes, merong mga type of work na may poor quality, pero sana i-allow din natin yung experience na this could be a source of growth for the creator. Tulungan naman tayo at the end of the day. Lahat tayo ay suportahan and we will grow together. Sabi nga kanina ni Petersen. At yung togetherness na yon will always be our strength. So sana magsimula ito sa pagiging open-minded and hopefully as we embrace each other, we will see that we will become stronger, not just as creators, not just as business persons, not just as audience members, not just as actors, but as members of this society called the Philippines.
Thank you so much. So that's such a beautiful thing kind of cried a little. Cut the camera. Cloie, cut the camera. Cut this out. It's such a privilege and blessing to be able to hear this from the both of you and to share this space rin. I'm fine. But yeah, I'm so grateful kasi, you know, as someone who is part of the community and who has only recently, I guess, publicly come out as a queer person, that helps me feel so accepted and yun nga, validated. Miss Mela, iiyak na talaga ako. Thank you very much. Pero baka umiyak talaga ako. So, this part of our conversation, kasi as you both said, it's not like a conversation that's like one and done. It always continues. But to end this series, this episode, is there anything that you'd like to promote or share with our readers at home?
Ayun, ang mga likha namin, fortunately, you can just avail them on YouTube for free. Nandun pa rin yung Hanging Out, produced by Team Magazine. And then, of course, nandun pa rin ang Hello Stranger, ang full season 1 on the Black Sheep YouTube and Facebook pages. And of course, gusto ko ring i-take yung opportunity na to celebrate yung mga upcoming BL series, especially by my lovely friend, yung Juan Miguel Severos, gaya sa pelikula, produced by Globe Studios, and yung Boys Lockdown, directed by Jade Castro. Ang happy ko doon kasi especially they casted also, I think parang one of their leads, openly queer actor din. So I think they're taking the right steps and I'm happy for them. And I hope we continue to celebrate these shows. Yan.
Thank you. How about you, Miss Mela? Anything you would like to promote, to share?
Una sa lahat, thank you muna for having me and Petersen today. Maraming salamat because this has been a platform for us para ibigay ang aming perspectives and hopefully nakatulong kami sa iba na in understanding the issues concerning concerning production, concerning producing materials, di ba? On my end, I am online. I am present online and feel free to follow me. At kung gusto ninyo ng conversations nang walang judgment, feel free to message me. I'm always open and I will be there to understand what you are going through because for me, support system is very important. I have my own talk show called Threesome. It's every Saturday, 9 p.m. And I am inviting you to watch because it's an intimate, personal, and bold conversations with the guest I invited.
Naman.
Sana nga makasama ko si Petersen
please.
in one Saturday. I'm
game na game.
Your commitment na ha. I also have a live streaming that talks about my love for Brightwin and our love for BL series. It's called Brightwin Ninangs. It's every Thursday, 8 p.m. And we are just celebrating the beauty of BL. We also have an LGBTQIA conversations on Spaces Manila. It's bi-monthly. Mondays siya. Every other Mondays of the month. Nag-start kami last week and we talked about the power of the rainbow vote. Para sa mga hindi ba nagpapa-register, mag-register na kayo dahil makapangyarihan ang inyong boto. And
please,
hopefully magkatrabaho kami na
please.
Petersen in the future. Ayan. At sa lahat ng mga tao, let's appreciate all types of love because at the end of the day, love is the most beautiful thing in the world and let love win.